almost the end of the prep year. So glad you're with us. I'm Tarek Patel.
I'm Randy Rosenblum, enjoying the great weather in Greenville, South Carolina. And this is SoCal Prep Report.
Another year has come and gone. I heard Randy snickering in the background. That's how it feels. I mean, look, I just got done doing my 12th prep year. Randy, I don't even know. He's going to have to count. It's been a lot of prep years for him, but another year has come and gone. Yes, there's a couple more games to go, but the section finals are over. A little bit of regionals, a little bit of state championships to get to for baseball and softball, but for the most part, senioritis has now been fulfilled. These kids have graduated. Prom is over. So we have a couple more weeks here on SoCal Prep Report to talk about that. This week will be our show. We're going to talk about what happened in the section championships for baseball, softball, a little bit of track for sure, some city section softball as well, and then we'll look forward to some regional action in regard to the baseball and the softball. That all gets shored up here this weekend, and that'll officially end the prep year. And then next week we have our year finale on SoCal Prep Report, so I hope you'll join us then. For now, I'll pivot to my guy, Randy. Randy, talk to me about the weather. It looks beautiful out there.
Yeah, we had a few days where we had some rain, but it's cleared up. It's about 80 degrees, nice breeze. I'm enjoying the sunshine in the backyard, enjoying time with Tarek Fatal and my friends at SoCal Prep Report. But I'm looking forward to a half an hour here of really good prep reporting, because we did have some exceptional contests in these championship games.
Yeah, there's a lot to get to today, so we're going to get right into it. And we're going to start with the big game of the weekend, and that was the Division I Southern Section Baseball Championship. That was between St. John Bosco and Norco. And I did feel like Norco getting to the final was kind of fun, if you want to put it that way. You mentioned it. And the format worked for them, right? There wasn't a single game elimination. There was a body of work to be handled. They lose a game in pool play, but they able to qualify, and they get to the final. But, and we'll get to it in a second, they run into the big bad arm of Julian Garcia at St. John Bosco and lose 2-0. Randy?
It was all about Julian Garcia coming off of surgery last year, having to watch from the sideline. Now he's the big dog. He's the horse of the staff at St. John Bosco, gets the ball, and now he's throwing the ball 95 miles an hour and throws a one-hitter, 14 strikeouts, and Bosco peaked at the perfect time, right at the end of the regular season. I thought they could win this tournament, and they did. Not shocking, but the way they did it, really, they're almost perfection in the close games. They executed when the games were on the line, and nobody executed more than Julian Garcia.
14 strikeouts, only allowed one hit, walked none. I mean, the guy was nails and so good. Here we go. Pulled up a little footage now. And this is like almost a 3-minute montage of his strikeouts. We're not going to watch all of it. But for those that didn't get a chance to see, it was dominating. I posted the compilation of these strikeouts on Instagram, and we're up to like 150,000 views. I mean, people are liking the domination that he put out onto that field at Cal State Fullerton on Saturday. I mean, everything from speed, really big-time hanging curveballs that could not be hit. I think that this will be a performance they're going to talk about for a long time.
And it's frustrating for Norco, because this is a young Norco team. As we look ahead to next year, they have 8 returning starters out of the 9 guys that were in the field. So it was frustrating for a young team. And then you compile it with the fact that this pitcher was really on and motivated. When you see this pitcher, Julian Garcia, the way he attacked the hitters, he was very much into the game and had to make a statement for himself, knowing that he sat out. He wanted to be the guy. He proved his point, and he got it done.
Last ad before we move on, it was, sometimes in sports, I've said this many times, it's like if a Hollywood writer wrote it, you'd like, nah, that would never happen. And then in sports, It happens in real time. Julian Garcia, when he was a sophomore, St. John Bosco got walked off in a Division III championship game, okay? He lost. He didn't pitch great. They lost. He has the Tommy John as a junior, doesn't pitch at all. Then comes back for a senior year and has a performance like that. Storybook stuff. Moving on, not quite as celebratory, I guess. Ganesha's Division II victory over Loyola. It was just clouded with controversy. I'll set the table really quick, and I want your comments on this, Randy. Basically, Ganesha's best players, more than half the team, if not most of their team, and at least the starters, they go to school online. They do not go to Ganesha's school, which is in Pomona, right? And they're basically just hyper active baseball players focused on college and maybe even pro baseball. Imagine a European-style soccer academy, right, where they take kids at a young age and kind of grow them into pros, but here in America for baseball, okay? And they end up getting to the Division II final, all to find out, Fred Robledo from the San Gabriel Valley Tribune finds out that these kids were planning on not showing up to the D2 final, flying to Mississippi and competing in what would basically be a baseball camp in front of pro scouts. Whoa. Fred's reporting put so much pressure on this thing, the district got involved and essentially made the players and the baseball coach play in the Division II final. They end up beating Loyola, but something about it didn't taste right.
That's true, but I'm going to go a little bit different direction on this one. And it shows that they really like professional players. Most of the time when you have a distraction like this, your team gets derailed. That didn't happen to Logan Schmidt, their star player. He ended up playing. He ended up getting a hit and an RBI. He ended up pitching and saving the game at the end, and they beat a pretty good Loyola team 6-3. So I'm going to credit this team, even though I don't like the method particularly, but I am going to credit them for without those distractions, I thought they'd be the heavy favorite. With those distractions, I thought they could lose the game, but they were able to overcome that and play like pros and win the title.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Maybe they do have a bunch of pros on their team because it does take focus to do that. Logan Schmidt, the #1 high school player in the country, likely to be like a top 10 pick. And, you know, something about this academy or this camp that they were going to was maybe he could have risen his draft stock even more if he threw in front of scouts. And I just thought to myself, well, how about the scouts just come watch the game and watch him throw there? Some of that, to be honest, I didn't really buy. But nevertheless, they ended up winning the game, and Ganesha is your D2 champ.
Again, no surprise. Both of us picked Ganesha last week, but we didn't know the fireworks around the game at that time. Getting back to your point about scouts, I think it's overrated. Everybody knows who Logan Schmidt is. They know how good he is. They like to see him over and over just to justify their decision down the road. But he didn't have to pitch in front of scouts right now.
Sure.
Everybody knows how good he is. That's no surprise.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Going on to Division IV, a little more drama here. Glendora wins another CIF championship in a 3-2 win over Laguna Beach, and we have video, a walk-off from Santiago Garza in the 9th inning, I believe. Maybe the 10th inning. I'm kind of losing track here. But this was the walk-off, and the celebration ensues. As we all know, in high school, they only play 7. So either way, it was an extra inning, drama-filled walk-off hit for Garza.
I always talk about this, Tark. There has to be a hero. Someone has to step up. And Santiago did that at the appropriate time. They needed a key hit. I love that celebration. The kids running out there, they're pumped up. But Santiago got it done at the appropriate time and walk off the game. And it's always great when you win an extra innings. It's great to win the regulation. It's great to win titles. But you have that tension building in the dugout, into the 7th, into the 8th, into the 9th. Then you get a winning hit. Boy, that exceedingly builds up that enthusiasm, and they just burst out onto the field with absolute joy. Congratulations to that baseball team.
We're going to move on now. Softball. Oh, excuse me. No, we're not. No, we're not. We got a scoreboard for the CIF champions. That's right, in baseball. So there are all your champions, 1 through 9. Culver City edges Kaiser. I thought that was a good little score. Look at Miracosta. I think Agora was up 6-1 in that D3 final and ended up losing 9-3. And I hate to say it, but that was Agora's story all year long. They would blow these 7th inning leads, and so it happened in the really was more like a 6th inning lead that they blew. But anyway, they end up losing the Agora Chargers. Kudos to Miracosta for sticking with it. And then Webb down in Division 9 outscores Rolling Hills Prep. Those are your champions for 2026. Now moving on to softball, the Division 1 score. Look, I think we were happy to see 2 different teams fight for this Division I championship in softball. And to me, the story was Liliana Escobar, the pitcher from JSerra, who I think had 12 or 13 strikeouts in the final.
Yeah, she had 12 strikeouts. Her control was a little bit off, gave up a couple runs, but they opened up a 3-0 lead. And Escobar was the story of the tournament. There's a lot of great pitchers, and we can document who they are and other teams. But when a tournament came this year, Escobar was prepared. Now, this is a young team. She was the senior. She was the leader. Liliana got it done. Great job down the stretch, beating all the powerful teams and then knocking off La Mirada in the championship game 3-2. But again, they were in control. They led 3-0. 2 late runs for La Mirada wasn't enough. Congratulations to JSerra.
I'm always relieved, and it's refreshing to see two teams that you're not used to seeing in a final, because usually it's Norco. Marietta Mesa was the number 1 seed, though they might have been a little different. And there's so many other powerhouses that are generally in the mix. So JSerra and La Mirada to be in the final, I thought was quite refreshing. It wasn't as close in the city, though, Randy. The Open Division, we knew it would be these two teams. I believe it was the 3rd or 4th straight time these two teams had met again. And all previous matchups were close, really close. This one, not so much. I believe it ended in 5 innings.
It was a 5-inning game. Really a tremendous performance by the Carson Colts. They've met 4 years in a row, as you mentioned. Colts have won 3 of the 4 now. Granada got them last year, but the Colts get them back this year. They hit a couple home runs. Their pitcher was great, Campos, just a junior pitcher, threw solid 5 innings to stymie the Highlanders. I do want to talk about Cam Werner, who's the co-coach right now and was the coach for many, many years, because she stayed with this program for lots of years. For so long, Carson was the team that was runner-up to San Pedro, couldn't get by San Pedro or El Camino in the playoffs, but they hung in there. And now Carson is the team. They've won 3 out of the last 4, as we have noted. The Colts are the number 1 team in the LA City section.
We'll take a look at the Southern Section softball champions now. Another scoreboard real quick. 1 through 8. There you go. Like we mentioned earlier, JSerra, the number 1, Division I champion. I always got to look at Whittier Christian. Division II, taking down big bad Mater Dei, right? Mater Dei is kind of just known to be an athletic power in anything. So I thought that was nice to see Whittier Christian getting themselves a CAF championship by way of taking down a powerful Monarch team. There are your champions: Irvine, Northwood, Oxnard, so on and so forth. Down in Division 8, Arroyo Valley gets San Bernardino 8-5. Then we've got a city section scoreboard. Got to shout out to the city section too. There's your 12-1 score for the Open. But look at Venice, Arleta, Southeast, and Franklin lifting city championships in their own right. You know, everyone's got a weight class. Arleta blanking Marshall 11-0. Before we move on, Randy, any thoughts on just kind of generalities when it comes to these section championships that tend to really end the prep year?
I was glad to see Venice break through because they've been close. They're one of those teams that's always on the edge. Are they going to be in the Open or are they going to be in D1? Well, they got into D1 and they went right through it, and the Gondoliers won the championship. Also, they were playing for Angelo Gasca, who just passed away in recent weeks, the great football coach. He had worked with the softball team. So they had a purpose. They wanted to do it for Angelo, and they got it done. So I'm happy for the Gondoliers.
Well said, well said. Before we move on to any other images and things like that, we're going to talk about the SoCal regional playoffs for baseball and softball. But before we get to any results and maybe even further matchups that are actually going to happen today, I want to talk opt-outs. I think I want to chat with you about opt-outs. Just your initial thought on opting out. I tend to understand, though I don't know if I agree. Your thought on it?
Well, I understand like you do because there's no state championship. It's just regional games. I look at them really as almost exhibition games. These teams are, peaking to try to be CIF Southern Section champions. Then the regional, to me, becomes more practice baseball for them until they get a complete state tournament. So what you're going to see when you see these scores, a lot of the number ones got knocked out immediately.
Yes, they did.
They hit their ceiling. They got what they wanted most. They got the championship. I don't know if all the starters were in these games. I don't know if any of the starters were there, who was pulled, what pitchers they were using. So I think the coaches really look at it differently. It's extra baseball. And then for some of the powerhouse teams, they're just saying, forget it. We hit the pinnacle. We're done. So I understand that as well.
Yeah, I think I remember Jared Halpert, or maybe it was Brett Kay. Jared Halpert from Harvard Westlake or Brett Kay from J. Sarah. I think he was saying, man, all anyone plays for here in Southern California is for the one dog pile, and that's the section championship. After that, so I do hope that the state championships for baseball and softball, which are supposed to come next spring, will incentivize for more teams to opt in because state championship has a nice ring to it, right? Southern California regional champion, nobody, like, it's extra, like you mentioned. So there's an aspect of it, though, that I do think you're right. St. John Bosco, and we'll see that here in a second. St. John Bosco lost. They won the section. They're like the best team in the country, and they lost their regional opener. But I wonder, did Andy Rojo, maybe he just played kids that didn't play all year? Like, hey, here are some extra games, because all the other guys are tapped out. And maybe he wanted to do that for the other guys. I don't know. But I think it's a good opportunity to do that. So in now saying that, let's take a look. We're just going to look at the Division I regionals for baseball and softball. We're not going to go through every bracket. There's like 4 or 5 of them. But look at Cathedral Catholic of San Diego knocking off as the 8th seed. St. John Bosco, so there's something there. But yeah, St. John Bosco season's over now. So they won the section, and then they had to get up and play a regional game. They lose. Corona ended up beating Eastlake. Patrick Henry fell to Huntington Beach. So it's a full, other than one team, it's a bunch of Southern Section teams again in this regional playoff.
I don't think that's a surprise. We play the best baseball in SoCal. We have for many, many years. Great players, great teams. But it's hard to pick a favorite in this format because, as we discussed, we don't know who's playing. And again, we don't know what the philosophy of the coaching staffs are going to be in this. To your point before, though, I do want to add, I do think when they go to a full state tournament next year for both the guys and the girls, baseball and softball, that'll change the demeanor of a lot of these teams. We won't have as many opt-outs. Some coaching staffs might think, hey, it's too much. We won the tournament. Right. We got deep into a section title. Enough is enough. But there'll be some other power brokers that are going to want to get in there and say, we want to be state champions. So I think it'll be better in years to come. Right now, it's basically exhibition baseball in my mind.
I agree. Moving on, we got the softball Division I regional playoff. Mater Dei Catholic got a bye, but now here are the semifinals. They're going to play Point Loma, St. Paul, and La Habra are into the semifinals. And as you can see there, no La Mirada, no J. Sarah. So the Division I finalists from the section, including the champion, they decided to opt out. So I always think to myself, I don't know how great it even feels to know that you're competing in a regional final when the champions aren't even involved. You know, it kind of seems, it's like winning, I always joke around, it's like those PGA Tour weekends when it's like the event after the Masters. All these guys like take the weekend off and someone wins. Well, you didn't have to beat Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy, you know, and I'm joking. Of course, it's still an accomplishment, but there's something about it. There's something about it that isn't quite as fulfilling, at least if I'm competing. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, but everybody loves to win. You could be playing tiddlywinks in the backyard, and if you win, you're happy.
That's true.
Winning is. I will say this: La Habra had a really nice year in softball. They're still alive. Maybe they're playing their top performers, and I think they might have a slight edge. But again, we don't really know for sure in this format.
Moving on, we got some state track and field champions to talk about. Just 3 here for now, although, you know, you can go look on athletic.net and look at all the champions. But these were the standout performers. And, of course, you can't go without talking about the 100-meter winner. That's like basically the fastest kid in California, Servite's Benjamin Harris. I believe won. I didn't write it down, so I'm sorry. I think he won the 110-14. Knowing you probably have the notes in front of you. But he is a state champion. We have video of that performance here. Go ahead, Randy.
You're right. It was 10.14. It was wind aided. So from a record perspective, it won't count. We're looking at him win the 100 meters, but he also anchored a relay team that breaks records as well. The Servite sprinters as a group are the best in the country. That's without question. Benjamin Harris is also a nice football player, as are many of his sprinting partners. They have a lot of football players who sprint at Servite are all really good. But Harris, tremendous upside. He stays healthy. He's going to be a big-time sprinter in the future. College, perhaps Olympics. He's got that kind of talent.
Yeah, I always think to myself, you see these kids that run these crazy times, and I want to say, at this rate, if they so choose, they want to focus on track and field and get to the Olympics, they can probably do it. But if he wants to play football, by the way, would be awesome. I'm not, but the Olympic thing, I think, kind of starts to fade when you start to focus on football speed and those kinds of things. But if he wants to focus on just running straight and being an Olympian for the next, 5-6 years, I think he can get there.
I think I read, maybe I'm incorrect, but I thought I saw an article where he said he's a sprinter who happens to play football. So I think
Ah,
track might be his first love. There was a player many, many years ago, and I mentioned him on other shows, a guy by the name of Bob Hayes, who played for the Cowboys, who was the fastest human at the time and won Olympic gold. So there are cases where you can be great at both, and Hayes was one of the great Cowboy receivers. Benjamin Harris, though, like Hayes, looks at track, I believe, as his number one sport.
good to know. We'll keep an eye out. Another video here. This is J.J. Harrell from Notre Dame Sherman Oaks. We've known about him for years. Could this kid be an Olympian? I don't know, but he's certainly going to try. That's I don't think he plays any other sport. He is focused on the high jump and a couple other events. But he jumped 7.2 here, if I'm not mistaken. He is the state champion, and I think a repeat state champion at that.
Yeah, he is a repeat champion. His goal was to go 7.2 or 7.3, and he did that. And I give him credit because he's been jumping in pain all year. We've heard of the Jewish Jordan, is a term used for great basketball players who happen to be Jewish. Well, here's the Jewish jumper. He's the great Jewish jumper.
That's good.
And he is tremendous. He has an opportunity to represent different countries because he's got dual citizenship. But what I love about him is the fact that he was overcoming the mental headache of knowing that he had pain in his knee. He overcame that, goes over 7 feet, and he is just tremendous. He wins the CIF Southern section. He was in D3 there, and now he wins the state title. Just a great kid with great talent. I hope he stays healthy. Then his future is really bright.
We've got a shout out from we don't talk about this school much, but Aliso Nigell's Jaslyn Massey, I believe, won the shot put and the discus. We just got a photo of her. I couldn't find any video, but I mean, there's no question, and I can say this. Look, she looks like such a tremendous athlete just in this photo right here. That's a compliment to her. 2-time state champion in the throws. I know you were a thrower. Randy, the floor is yours.
196.4 in the discus. That's unheard of.
Got it.
No high school athlete has ever done better. She's the greatest that's ever done it in her field in the discus. And she's tremendous at the shot put. You said she did win. She was over 52 feet to get the victory there. So she doubled up. But her discus throw was the best ever by a high school student in the United States.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, maybe a future Olympian there. And it just goes to show you, when I read off numbers like this, I think to myself, it just goes to show you once again, here in Southern California, particularly in the southern section, future pros, future Olympians in some of the most, I wouldn't say obscure, but non-traditional sports. Water polo, volleyball, sand volleyball, underwater basket weaving. Whatever the case is, the best happens to reside here in Southern California. Okay, we got about 6 minutes left in the show. We're going to do a little rapid fire, some news items in the high school sports landscape. I will bring them up, Randy, and then get a quick comment from you. Miracosta wins the CIF State Open Division Volleyball Championship.
No surprise, we predicted they'd beat Northgate, who's a very good team from up north in 3, and that's exactly what they did. Mateo Feuerbrewer is their best player. He's just a junior, so look for Miracosta to be good again. And it was interesting in listening to their coach Schneider talk about the championship team. He felt they weren't as strong physically as a year ago, but he felt this team reached its potential, and he's really proud of this team, overcoming Loyola in the regionals in 5 sets and easily beating Northgate. Again, Mateo is a fabulous player, and with him returning next year, they're not only going to be the defending national champions, they'll be number 1 to start the season in America.
Tom Musborn resigns, longtime coach at Chatsworth, won 8 city titles, at least 1 national title, maybe 2. I think just the 1, though. Coached many Major League Baseball players, then went to Sierra Canyon and had a nice spell there, but he resigns. As you see there, 774 wins. I know you knew Tom well. He is the city's all-time winningest baseball coach.
Yeah, with the 8 city titles, no one's gotten more than that. I will give you a quick story about Tom and how he thinks. He's an interesting guy. He loves to win. We all do. I mentioned that as well earlier. Well, they lost a game. I think it was to El Camino. Might have been a championship game. I'm not sure. But he walked home. He was so frustrated. He walked home 7 miles. And that's what I remember about Tom Usborne. He was so frustrated that his team on that particular day didn't get it done. He walked all the way home. He said, guys, you're on your own. I'm leaving Dodge, and walked 7 miles back home.
Spud O'Neal also resigns. You're talking about a guy that's been around a long time. I got a chance to interview him when I was doing the Southern Section sit-down show in this studio, actually. And Spud was great. Longtime coach at Lakewood. I believe he started there in 1981. I believe he's got well over 1,000 victories. Man, kudos to him and what a great career he had.
23 league championships. Everybody adores him. And on his staff, and I have to bring this up, for 14 years was Rob Wygod. Now, Wygod went on to be commissioner of the Southern Section. So here's the guy that mentored the person that ended up running the whole caboodle. The whole
that's a good tidbit right there. Good
Rob
tidbit.
Wygod was his assistant coach for 14 years. Anyway, Spud's the original deal. You know him better than I do. Just a tremendous guy and obviously a great coach to win so often and do it on such a consistent basis. You know, it's tough to lose guys like that. You know, the old guard is going out. You get old, it's time to move on. But he really had a terrific career.
McKenna Cook, who is arguably and probably the best flag football player in America at the high school level. She plays quarterback. She'll be a senior. She is now transferred from Orange Lutheran to Sierra Canyon. And, I mean, this highlight alone, just, off the back foot, throwing this, what a tremendous throw. She's just got so much arm talent, and, she already has NIL deals. She is, I think, I'm going to make the comp here, I do think McKenna Cook could be bigger than Juju Watkins, and here's why. Just as notable, not as popular in the basketball, but she's the first. So she's going to be the first to go and get a flag football scholarship, a flag football NIL, probably do commercials, right? She's going to be the poster child for NCAA women's flag football. There are programs, and I know this for a fact, by the way, there are programs at the NCAA level scrambling to get programs off the ground so they can recruit her.
Well, McKenna's big time, but she's also a great soccer player. And Georgia has recruited her for soccer. So she's going to have to make a decision because she said she's going to play soccer at Georgia. Does she want to play the flag football at the next level? She's got the arm talent, as you noted. She's as good as any player in the country. She brought Orange Lutheran the first ever Southern Section title. She's going to Sierra Canyon, in my mind, because it's their first year. She knows they have all the great facilities on campus. She wants to bring Sierra Canyon's first team a championship. That's just another challenge for her. But what she does down the road, she's got the world, and it's up to her to see what she's going to do. She's great at soccer. She's obviously tremendous as a quarterback and at the high school level.
Last bit of information. Your boy broke a little news yesterday. Steve Bake is back in California, Southern California specifically, coaching high school basketball. He was the 35-0 coach at Chino Hills with the Ball brothers and Big O there. You see the photo. They won the State Open Division Championship in 2016. Again, 35-0. Ended up being number one in the country. Most consider that a national championship. He's back at Calabasas High School. Excited to see him get going here again in Southern California. Quick comment, and then we got to end the show.
Great hire. Great hire. Calabasas has had a tremendous program. It's only going to get better with Bake there.
And then we got, of course, Joe Wyatt, North Hollywood. That happened today. Former coach at ECR, former coach at Sun Valley Poly. He takes over at North Hollywood. The Huskies have a bright future under Joe Wyatt.
Yeah, the Huskies, have you noted, he's a good one, and he'll get that program where it should be, near the level, the top level in the city section.
That'll do it for us. Thank you so much for watching. Randy, we'll see you next week for the finale. Go ahead, roll credits. There it is. Randy, we'll see you next week, brother. Good show. Good show.
Thank you, Tark. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.